The silence of a woman has already destroyed more men than 1,000 words. And do you know why? Because the modern man does not know how to be silent. He only knows how to beg. He hears the echo of a muted phone and already despairs like a stray dog. Pathetic. The lack of response devours him from within because deep down, he never had control. It isn't she who is testing him. It's the abyss he carries himself. And the abyss, my friends, answers with silence. Silence is not absence. It is revelation. It shows what you try to hide even from yourself. Tell me, man, what do you do when she says nothing? If you collapse, you've already lost. If you stand firm, you've begun to win. Not because of her, but because of you. If you know the weight silence has already had in your life, comment below. From which city are you listening to me now? I want to know where there are still men willing to face themselves in the mirror without running away. You were raised to believe that every absence is rejection, that any female distance is punishment. Poor deluded souls. Male vanity is so inflated that it cannot conceive the idea that perhaps, just perhaps, she is not thinking about you. Maybe she's saving herself, healing her own wounds. Maybe she is silent because she's exhausted, not vengeful. But the little Narcissus in you interprets everything as a personal attack. Pathetic. This is not love. It is selfishness masquerading as passion. A real man does not demand presence. He understands absence. He does not crumble because he is not the center of someone else's universe. He respects the other's timing and uses his own to become unshakable. What do you do with the void left by an absence? Most run to fill it with voices, distractions, ridiculous pleas. But I ask you, what if that emptiness is exactly the space you needed to rebuild yourself? It wasn't she who left. It was you who abandoned yourself long ago. Silence did not come to punish you. It came to show you how much you've neglected your goals, your body, your vision. You are so addicted to attention that you've forgotten what it means to have direction. Now that she no longer answers you, maybe it's time for you to answer life. Don't run from silence. Dive into it. There is more truth in a sincere absence than in 1,000 empty messages. Turn the lack into fire and forge yourself anew. Do you want to be a man? Then stop begging for answers. Start listening to what hasn't been said. Not every silence is contempt. Sometimes it is a silent scream of pain, of confusion, of exhaustion. But you are so busy trying to decipher what this means for you that you forget to perceive what it reveals about her. You react like a boy anxious for validation, instead of acting like an attentive man who sees beyond words. Emotional intelligence isn't about saying pretty phrases, but about sensing the right time to be silent, to respect, not to invade. Learn this. Sensitivity does not weaken you. It sharpens you. Whoever doesn't understand another's silence will never understand his own soul. Most men live like emotional puppets, hanging from invisible strings that tremble at the slightest gesture of silence. A reed without reply, and they already imagine betrayal, contempt, abandonment. What kind of strength is that which unravels at a simple delay? I tell you, it is not strength, it is fragility disguised as virility. A man who does not master his reaction will always be a slave to his environment. He reacts like a conditioned animal, not like the creator of his own destiny. Her absence should be your temple of discipline, not your hell of anxiety. While you freak out, time slips away, and with it slips also your great chance for transformation. You wanted love, but perhaps what you need above all is structure. You lost yourself in her because you were never grounded in yourself, and now, in the void left by her absence, you have the chance few have to build yourself. Silence, my dear, is the cruelest of masters, but also the most honest. It does not comfort you, but it reveals you. It does not cradle you, but it points out what needs to be conquered within you. It's time to train again, to wake up early, to remember your mission, to rediscover the focus you traded for crumbs of attention. This is not romantic overcoming, it is masculine rebirth. You need to understand, she isn't your center, and if she is, you are lost. A man who spins around a woman's mood has lost the right to call himself master of himself. The world is already chaotic enough for you to live hostage to who replies or doesn't reply to your messages. Want respect? Rebuild your own value. Want love? Become someone who doesn't need to beg for affection. And if you've made it this far, if you're still listening to this truth without turning off the video like an offended coward, comment now. I am forging myself in silence. Write it. Declare it. Because reconstruction starts when you stop seeking comfort and start forging your backbone. Do you think you're the only one wounded? Foolish. She bleeds too. She also falls silent because she is confused, hurt, exhausted. But you don't see that. You're so trapped in your own void that you can't see hers, and you still call yourself man. She's not cold, it's you who is blind, because true masculine sight is that which sees beyond its own navel. Learn one thing. She is not the enemy. She is a mirror. And what hurts you most about her is what you have yet to face within yourself. Her silence does not reject you. It reveals you. What most call love, I call emotional dependence disguised as cheap poetry. You fall in love with someone and immediately surrender your own axis, like a dog throwing its leash at the feet of whoever feeds it. That is not surrender. It is capitulation. It is the silent abandonment of your mission for a bit of attention. You abandon yourself to follow someone who may not even know where she's going. And when she falls silent, you find yourself without direction, without purpose, without dignity. Listen well. A man who only feels alive when validated by a woman is not loving. He is begging to exist through another. That is prison, not passion. Her absence destroys you because you never built a world in which you yourself were enough. And that, my dear, is the root of all your pain. You don't miss her. You miss yourself. They ask me, Nietzsche, how can one endure her silence? And I reply, with contempt, by enduring yourself first. You expect her to solve what you never had the courage to face. You expect her love to cure the void that you yourself fed for years with escape, addiction, and mediocrity. Her silence is not the problem. The problem is the noise your mind makes when left alone. That's why you freak out, because deep down, you know you are naked before the mirror. No distractions, no excuses, no applause, just you and what you've become. And then comes desperation. But listen well. That desperation is the gateway. The pain you feel is a birth, not an end. Silence, when accepted with courage, does not destroy. It reveals what must die so that you may be reborn. Most flee, a few endure, and the rare transform. Do you know why silence terrifies you? Because it does not lie. Because in it, there is no distraction, no narrative, no flattery. Silence is the only place where your mask falls. And all that remains is raw truth. You have been living as an imposter of yourself. That is why you chase messages, stories, crumbs of presence, so you don't have to face the hole you dug. Her absence is only unbearable because it reveals how much you forgot to exist without her. You do not feel pain out of love. You feel pain because you lost your own axis. And now, without someone orbiting around you, you perceive how empty you have become. And I ask you, how much more must you lose before deciding to become someone nobody can abandon? Because you are already whole. Perhaps now you understand why I called the weak the herd. Because they prefer the security of a presence to the harshness of autonomy. They prefer to be loved rather than becoming worthy of love. They prefer to be heard rather than becoming capable of listening to the universe within themselves. But silence is the warrior's summons. It does not caress you. It tears you apart. It does not calm you. It invokes you. You can run, kick, distract yourself with pornography, dopamine, social media, but deep down you know you will have to face this moment alone, because it is in the desert that gods emerge, and it is also in the desert that false gods die. She fell silent? Excellent. Now you will hear the only voice that matters, the one you have been silencing for years inside your own chest. Every man, if he wants to cease being just a number in the crowd, must cross his desert. And I do not refer to a geographical place, but to a state of the soul, a deep, arid emptiness where there are no praises, no answers, no guarantees, only the echo of one's own conscience. And there, in that brutal silence, he will be tested. It is at that moment that many run back to the herd, to the lukewarm arms of any affection, to the comfort of illusions, to the numbing noise of modern distractions. But the few who remain, those become forgers. The silence of the woman who left you was merely the trigger. The real journey began when you stopped seeking her, and began seeking yourself. She did not reject you. She freed you, and now you have two options: collapse or be reborn. Imagine Prometheus chained for eternity, his liver devoured by eagles. He did not cry for help. He accepted suffering as the price for daring to bring fire to men. And you cry because you didn't receive an emoji back. See the decadence. See the distance between mythical men and the miserable children of modernity. But listen well, there is fire in you too. And perhaps this moment of pain is the flame that can ignite you. Silence is your cave. And as Plato already taught, you need to leave it. But this time, it is not to see the light outside. It is to ignite the light within. The man who survives silence is not the same who entered. He emerges greater. He emerges dangerous. He emerges free. We have reached the boundary between those who react and those who reinvent themselves. The true man, the one who has awakened from emotional torpor, no longer cares what she writes, how long she takes to reply, or the absence of signs. He has understood something greater, that his worth is not measured by attention received, but by the presence he himself imposes on the world. He stopped being someone who waits, to become someone who inspires. While others beg for crumbs of connection, he builds. While others lament, he trains. While others plead for meaning, he forges it. And the most interesting thing, when this man becomes whole, silence ceases to be pain. It becomes power, because now he has learned to listen to himself. This type of man is dangerous, because he does not need an audience to exist. He does not need declarations to feel loved. He does not need promises to stay focused. He acts in silence, grows in silence, wins in silence. And that, to the world, especially to those who feed on others' weakness, is unbearable, because he can no longer be controlled. He does not react to emotional blackmail, does not collapse before the void, does not live around fragile narratives. He has become a rock in a sea of foam, a solid presence in an age of liquid shadows. And if you understand this, if you feel this summons burning inside you, then stop everything now and subscribe to this channel. Here, we do not deal in advice. Here we forge warriors. This video is not for everyone. Most have abandoned it by the second minute. Do you know why? Because they prefer a coach who promises reconquest rather than a philosopher who demands reconstruction. They want magic formulas to bring back the object of their worship instead of becoming worthy of themselves. Sentimental cowards, addicts of approval, they are more concerned with understanding what she meant than understanding why they live kneeling before any absence. I tell you, you have not lost a woman, you have lost yourself. And if that hurts you, great. Pain is a sign that something is still alive inside you. But only those who have not completely surrendered feel it. The emotionally dead don't even mind anymore. They just scroll the feed, chewing dopamine and misery. There is no room here for the weak. No room here for those who want the comfort of affection without paying the price of transformation. You want peace? Conquer it. You want balance? Forge it. You want to be loved? Love yourself first so brutally and with such integrity that any absence is merely a detail, not a death sentence. Real masculinity does not tremble before silence. It bathes in it. It meditates, plans, trains, reads, builds. And when it emerges, it does not need to shout that it's back. Its presence speaks. Its posture imposes. Its silence dominates. She did not lose you. It was you who, by losing yourself, became unrecognizable even to yourself. But if you endure this path to the end, my dear, no one will dare to abandon you anymore, because you will be an absence that hurts. The pinnacle is not in winning back who has distanced themselves. The pinnacle is in becoming someone who does not demand, does not beg. Someone whose energy is so whole, so centered, that the other's absence does not create a void, but only silence. A silence that does not wound, but expands. That does not pressure, but illuminates. At that level, you do not seek messages. You send vibrations. You do not struggle for answers. You suffice yourself. The exalted man no longer plays the game of neediness. He does not join the dance of insecure egos. He observes. He chooses. And when he loves, he does not do it out of need, but out of abundance. He is a source, not a beggar. He is the sun, not a satellite. He stopped reacting to silence, to become the very silence that disturbs the fragile. And then something curious happens. When this man rises, when he no longer depends, she feels it, not by magic, not by tactics, but because his absence is now presence, a presence that echoes, a presence that weighs, a presence that haunts, because she perceives that he has changed, that he is no longer that boy begging for crumbs, that now there is a man there, steadfast, calm, lethal. And that, my friends, is irresistible. Not because he tried to be irresistible, but because he became invulnerable. And every human being is attracted to what they cannot control. This is the paradox. When you stop chasing, the world begins to revolve around you. Not through manipulation, but through magnetism. A magnetism born of the silence of one who learned to master himself. We live in an era that teaches men to apologize for being strong. An era that glorifies vulnerability, but condemns solidity. That romanticizes emotional instability, but accuses of coldness anyone who does not react like a broken toy at the slightest sign of silence. Where, I ask, was male pride lost? Where did the art of silence, of endurance, of forging oneself in silence hide? They call it coldness. What is really mastery? They call it arrogance. What is just the refusal to kneel? Today, a man who does not crawl for attention is considered toxic. But I tell you, toxic is the world that wants to see you dependent, weak, desperate for affectionate crumbs. Toxic is the culture that fears the whole man because it cannot use him. They want you to remain sensitive, broken, always waiting for some external approval to feel valid. That way it's easier to control you, to sell to you, to convince you. Weakened men are excellent consumers and terrible leaders, but you were not born to be bought. You were born to be forged. Your silence must be your prayer, your strategy, your laboratory. In it you rebuild what was diluted by haste, by attachment, by anxiety. And then, when you emerge, you won't need to say anything. Your presence will already be an answer, because true power is this: being able to endure any absence that without losing your own presence. The time has come for separation, not between men and women, but between men and boys. The boy screams when he is ignored. The man is silent and builds. The boy panics before silence. The man transforms it into discipline. The boy seeks someone to save him. The man saves himself. And you? On which side are you? Because here, at this very moment, is where many turn off the video, because they cannot stand to be unmasked, because they cannot bear to look in the mirror and see how much they still crawl for affection. But if you are still here, if something in you still pulses, even amid chaos, then listen. Perhaps you did not lose her. Perhaps you lost yourself, but there is still time. Silence did not come to destroy you, it came to rebuild you. If you are a man strong enough to endure it, there are moments in life when the universe goes silent, when nobody answers, when the echo of your own doubts is all you have. And that is when you decide, either you break or you forge, either you complain or you are reborn. Most will keep chasing those who have already left, begging for answers, trying to fill the hole that can only be filled from the inside out. But you will not. You will stop. You will breathe. You will look into your own abyss and say, enough. You will rise without needing applause. You will train even without an audience. You will silence the world and listen to the only voice that matters, yours. And at that moment, my dear, at that moment, you will no longer be alone. Because every man who is reborn in silence carries within him a strength that the entire world feels, even if it never understands it. You did not come into this world to be the slave of anyone's emotional instability. You were not born to get lost in others' silences, but to find yourself in your own. While so many live begging for love, you will become love in its raw state, without romance, without addiction, without dependence. You will no longer be someone who waits. You will be someone who imposes. Your energy will no longer be absorbed. It will be radiated. And then, ironically, all who once ignored you will begin to feel your absence, like an earthquake. Because the man who learns to live alone is never ignored again. He becomes impossible to forget, inexplicable, unsettling, a living reminder that it is possible to exist without bowing. And when you reach that point, when you no longer need to prove anything, when silence becomes your home, then you will have won. Not the game of love nor the contest of egos, but the hardest war of all, the war against your own neediness. And there, on the battlefield where so many fell for crumbs of affection, you will be standing, whole, serene, lethal. Maybe she will return, maybe not, but that no longer changes anything, because now, who you are is enough. You are the answer itself, and that is the secret the weak will never understand. Whoever masters his own silence masters the world. You survived, not her silence, but the chaos within yourself. Few reach this point. Most give up at the first absence, the first void, the first night the phone doesn't buzz, but you endured, and that changes everything. Now you know you don't need anyone to be whole, and that is unbearable for a world built on neediness. You became a threat, a rarity, a man who does not react. He chooses, who doesn't collapse, he directs, who doesn't drown, he navigates. And that makes you dangerous, because a man who needs nothing is a man who can. He can love without destroying himself. He can lose without bowing. He can remain silent and still dominate his surroundings. You thought this video was about her. It wasn't. It was always about you, about what you needed to face, about what needed to die inside you so that something greater could be born. And now, when everything is in ruins, here is the opportunity to rise, but not as before, not as the man addicted to answers, not as the boy who sought comfort, but as someone who can walk alone and still illuminate the paths of others. Did her silence destroy you? Perfect, because it was you who needed to be destroyed. That fragile, anxious, needy, impatient version. Now she's gone, and what was born in its place in the world is not yet ready to see, so say it. Not to me, but to yourself. I will not beg anymore. Say it with clenched teeth, with a firm fist, with a racing heart. Write in the comments, silence does not break me, it forges me. Make that a seal, a rite, a silent cry of transformation. And if you felt that this video turned you inside out, if something in you was touched or destroyed here, like it not. For me, but for yourself. Because this is a mirror, and mirrors do not flatter, they show. And if you want to continue this brutal journey of lucidity and strength, subscribe to this channel, because the next video might be the next door you need to break down. And remember, the world does not belong to those who shout. The world belongs to those who know how to be silent at the right moment, to those who endure absence, to those who transform pain into stone and stone into road. While the fragile demand attention, you will continue in silence, growing. While they sink in their noise, you will rise in your silences. You are no longer the same, and therefore, from today on, nothing, nor anyone, will have the power to dismantle you. Because you are not an answer, you are presence, you are rock, you are silence, but a silence that echoes.